Got it? Okay, so I will call this regular meeting of May 8th, 2024 of the Public Site and Building Commission to order at 7:03 PM. If you could join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Somebody up there needs to be muted. All right, so here in the room we have Nancy Ryan, Chair, Roy Steiner, John Menti, Public Site, Kathy Galvis, our recording secretary, Dan Carter for Selectmen is joining us, and up on the screen we've got Kevin Geit from Downs, Dave Olson, Public Site, Lieutenant Durkin from the Police Department, also our ad hoc committee on the range, Jen Varial from Board of Ed, and Mark Allen, Jakunski Humes, and you see my name up there too because I'm probably going to have to do some screen sharing at some point. It's the only way, unless I hold a piece of paper up, and I think that would be hard for everyone to see. So going through our agenda, we have, so there's two. As I said, Gerald said he was not going to attend because he's sick. That was last minute. I just got an email. John Perna and David Horvath both said they were going to attend with a little reply thing, but I don't see them here. They may join us, especially if they're coming in late from work. So public input. Public input. Public input. Very good. Correspondence, nothing that is not part of our project reports. So we'll move into our approval of meeting minutes. So I make a motion that we approve the regular meeting minutes from April 24, 2024.
I'll second that.
John Menti seconds. Does anybody have anything on those minutes that need to be corrected, updated, etc.? All good? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And does anybody have to abstain? We're good? Okay. And then we'll move into our old business. And we're going to go along with the what we have on the agenda as far as the order. So we'll start with the police station training range. And I will give you an update of everything that I know and get input from Kevin or Mark if needed. So last week, so Evan is away on vacation and he had said he was going to join us remotely from wherever he is. I don't even know where he is. And basically he was going to have to join by phone. Yet then I heard that he might not be able to attend. So he's not here now. He comes in at some point. I just thought I saw another email, but nope. We're good. Okay. So if Evan comes in, we can get more of an update from him, but this is what I know. Last week, it was scheduled, on Thursday, it was scheduled to have the whole gas line regulator meter thing all changed over. And Evan worked with all the parties who are part of that, ESC, CES, AON, etc., to make sure that they were all going to be there on the same day and in a way that they could get their work done so that somebody wasn't standing around waiting for another. So the first thing was Eversource coming in, shutting off the gas, draining the gas line, changing the meter, and then ESC putting in the new regulator, firing things up again. Evan left on Thursday for his vacation, scheduled vacation, and so he wasn't there. However, the night before, and it sounded like it wasn't early, so we couldn't really do much about it, he got a call from AON saying that they were down a technician. They couldn't get anybody there to start up the MAU. All the other work got done. John Perna was there, and I talked to him briefly because he was making, in some emails, he was asking questions that sounded like maybe there was a problem, yet he didn't tell me if there was a problem or not. Sounds like all the work got done, except for starting up the makeup air unit. the makeup air unit is scheduled to do, Aon is scheduled to be on site Tuesday next week, the 13th, I think that, or 14th. You check my calendar to make sure, because there have been emails back and forth about making sure that everyone that needs to be there is on site. So it's the 14th. It's that Tuesday. And I'm just checking again. Oh, it's Monday. It's Monday morning. And everyone's, Aon is supposed to be on site 8 o'clock, 8:30. And John Perna's been in this email thread, making sure that everybody who says that they're supposed to show up, shows up on time. And initially it was David Johnson from Action Target who said that they got Aon scheduled, and then CES and ESC said that they would have people on site too. So that's going to be Monday, the 13th. And there are a few questions that basically, because ESC isn't really, it's all Monday. So ESC is going to be there, CES, and ESC isn't integrating that. That's not their responsibility. It's Action Target's responsibility to integrate this thing. The only thing that ESC does is there's an alarm that goes off if there's issues, and then that goes into the building. So someone's notified, usually dispatch, that they need to check things. So that's the update that I have. I don't know if either Kevin from Downs or Mark from Chikinsky Humes or even Lieutenant Durkin have anything else to add in.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do you know if the sealing was completed around those areas that were pointed out week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that would be Kevin from Downs. I think that there was, go ahead, John, and ask your question.
Got it. Yeah, I meant the, did you know if those areas around the outside or the ductwork passes for the brick was completely sealed up? There was one area that the bottom part was not done. And also there was a situation where the insulation needed to be raised up so the water would drain off and not sit on the part of the ductwork. Do you know if that was taken care of or in the process?
Is this for the MAU ductwork?
Yes.
That would be
So that was handled under Action Target's mechanical contractor. You know, we
Okay.
provided the penetration and we put the block back and sealed it. But as far as any kind of, you know, flashing, that would be on.
Well, there's one of the MA units where it passed through the top. There's two sides, and the top was sealed, but the bottom was not.
going through the wall.
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't sealed. I guess I would have to actually see it to, you know, see if it was part of our scope or not. But I know that, you know, the mason went back and infilled the opening around the ductwork.
Okay. So I know John Perna took pictures of that. I believe he sent them out.
You know, if it's a simple matter of just going back and caulking, you know, I'm sure I can get the mason to go back out there. But if it's anything beyond that, I mean, that's typically by the mechanical contractor. You know, without looking at the contracts in front of me, I can't really say yay or nay.
Yeah.
And then there was also the ductwork, the insulation on it should have been pitched slightly so the water runs off, and it was sitting flat and the water's just going to pool there again.
That's the mechanical contractor to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, whoever installed the
Right.
insulation.
Yeah. So we got to check with them and find out. And that's through Action Target again. And so, Kevin, while we've got you, do you have any idea? Have you gotten any notification of when Action Target's coming back to do the rest of the sort of controls and all that they need to do? And do you need to be a part of that?
No, I mean, I haven't had any kind of interactions with Action Target as far as, you know, scheduling any work. I mean, we can be available, but I'm not sure what they would need us for. I mean, all the power's turned on to all the units and everything. So it's kind of the Action Target game at this point.
Yeah. Okay. And then Lieutenant Durkin, did you have something?
Yes, as of last week, they still had not sealed underneath the ductwork, and they still haven't sloped it off like John Perna had requested. We were out there last week and we looked at it; it was still the same.
Okay. So if it's a caulking or sealing under in the wall penetration, I think, Kevin, that's something you might have to get the mason to do, and the ductwork, that's gonna have to be through Action Target Performance Mechanical. So,
Yeah, I can, if someone has a photo of, you know, what you're describing, that would definitely help. If not, I mean, I can take a trip out there, but if it's just a simple caulk joint, yeah, that's not an issue.
so do we have that photo, or is it?
So I don't have it.
Okay, I'll ask John Perna to see if he could send it to you,
Let me
Kevin.
check.
Okay.
Yeah, where's the round? Let me check, see right here.
I'm just making some notes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then I had asked Kevin a while back, and then you were gonna check on the painting that had to be done on the new block that was installed to seal up the penetrations and the big opening where we had to bring all the equipment in through. And you were gonna check with the painter to see how many, I think the original building had a primer coat plus 2 finish coats.
Yeah, that's what I was told was put back. You know, they put a primer, it was able to dry, and then they did, you know, 1 coat until it was kind of tacky, and then they put the other coat back on.
Okay,
And they were back out recently. They painted the gas line, so
okay,
their scope is complete at this point.
okay,
Okay.
thanks. It's
You're
good to-
welcome.
Yeah, that was the other question about the painting of the gas,
Right.
that one section, yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
anything else that we have? Questions? We may have questions as we go along through the next few items, Kevin and or Mark. Unless there's anything else anybody has that's general questions for either of them. Okay, so at our last meeting, we were discussing the new change order that Downs had given us, change order number 18. That deals with the conduit that was installed, and again, discussion back and forth on whether it was supposed to be part of scope, not part of scope. The suggestion was made to check with the town attorney to see with contracts, et cetera, if there was some legal opinion that could be drawn. And I did email Attorney O'Brien, gave her a brief rundown, and then she asked for more specifically to look at contracts and any other information that was included with like the change orders and such. So Kathy was helpful in getting her access to the shared drive. And then she was able to, initially she couldn't get in, and that was like right before the weekend. She was trying to get some stuff done over the weekend. So I emailed her a couple things, but then when she was able to get in and really get into the contracts with Action Target, Downs, et cetera, Downs first contract and then the GMP amendment. So she did not issue any sort of a specific legal opinion. Basically, she said that it's a very complex matter that was not very cut and dry enough to say yes or no. So we could continue to look into it further. However, I'm not sure how that would, this is my opinion, not coming from Attorney O'Brien. I'm not sure where that would get us. I think what we were looking at was, is there something in language of anyone's contracts that states, so we had, and again, we have the issue where, I believe it was beginning of January, where a letter was received from Action Target saying, you need to get that conduit installed so we can pull our wires. And then from there, Evan was doing some checking, investigating whose responsibility was it. And it wasn't included in any of the bid packages or anybody's scope of work, not Action Target, not Downs. So then Downs electrical contractor did not include it in their work. And Downs did send out some additional information last week, which was on attached to the invite. I hope everybody got a chance to look at that. Looking a little bit more at the kind of timeline, so to speak, without putting dates into it. And where we are right now, and my concern is that we have a change order. The work has been done. The work was done in a very timely manner because this was January and we were trying to move things along. We did not have the change order ahead of time. To wait on that would have been difficult. Downs has accepted some financial responsibility, and now we have the change order. Action Target has not. I don't know whether we need to go back to that. Again, and this is literally words from Attorney O'Brien, a complex situation. Where do we go from here? There's a couple of things I think we need to take into consideration. And again, we can ask questions of Kevin or Mark. What happens as we go forward into needing to get inspections so we can get our CO? Is there a possibility that that could be held up or and what good would that do for us? It's obvious that the work was not in the original bid from Rogers Electric. If it had been, then the GMP would have been higher to begin with. And we did receive, so from their electrician, we, the town, received a value. We received the conduit and the installation of the conduit so that Action Target could get all their wires pulled. And Rogers wants to be paid for what they've done. Downs wants to pay Rogers, so they want us to pay them so they can pay Rogers.
So Nancy, would the dispute go back really to Action Target? Because, we keep going back and forth on this. There's no question. We got I'm going to say our money's worth. Rogers put it in.
Yes,
They
yes.
took care of it.
Right.
There was no question about it. As
Right.
far as, we had to get it in. You're not going to sit there with the wiring not done.
Right.
So, the question is, where was it not in the bid documents? But by the same token, it seems to have come from Action.
Right.
So, almost at a later date per se from the readings that I get on
A later date.
that. Not part of the original scope of the project.
Well, it
I-
was in that there's some indications on Action Target's drawings.
I agree.
Right. And
There's-
you were the one, I
there's
think.
Exclusions, yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
so there's exclusions and a whole list of exclusions that Downs put in.
Right.
But there's an Action Target's exclusions too, which
The-
hindsight kind of should be like a red flag. What's going on? Who's doing that?
Right. Someone should have caught it.
Yes, who should have caught it? I don't know if I can say that. I don't know if any of us can.
That's just it.
I think and Evan told me that, in looking at the Action Target plans and specs, there were 91 places where it said contractor does this, contractor does that.
Yeah.
And then Roy, I think it was you that pointed out, well, who's contractor? Who?
That we had that battle at the beginning.
Yes. And so they took the plans back. And before we approved them to be attached to the Jakunski Humes plans for the bidding process, they made changes.
Right.
So now in the plans, in 41 places, it says ATI contractor, that's specific. In 25 places, it says general contractor, which seems to be specific. And in another 25 places, it just says contractor. So those got bias. We
Right.
looked at the plans, we went over them. Who should have caught that? I can't say. Because I don't know.
I'm sure, let me make
Yeah,
a comment,
sure.
please. Part of the problem is too, even if you could identify where it was missed,
Right,
it really wasn't in the original bid.
right,
It was missed.
yeah,
And so now we're in a situation where, because it was in the original bid, it would have cost us more anyway, the 10,000.
Mhm.
So at this point, it's like, even if you try to go back on one of the places that missed it,
Mhm.
it's not like we're gonna be able to get them to pay the 10,000 back to us, because we've had no harm. We had no harm to us because
No
it
harm,
would
is that
have
what you're
been,
saying? We had no
we
harm?
have no
Right,
harm to
right,
us
right,
because the $10,000 should have been the original bid.
Right,
And any kind of arbitrator is gonna look at it and go,
yeah,
where's the harm?
What's your date?
it should have been a little
So you
higher.
can't get
but-
Action Target to pay it, you can't
Right.
get somebody else to pay it, because at the end of the day, we'd be on the hook for it.
Right,
That's
Because
the
we-
argument.
That's the issue we run into now, and to even try to adjudicate that or arbitrate it or whatever creates another problem, because it's probably at least a 10 grand
Yeah.
to start that process.
true. And then what we don't know is if we, choose to, again, disapprove or not approve the change order, would there be a claim filed against us?
Yeah.
And I don't know what language is in the contracts to say you have X number of days to file a claim, or, and where would that take us again with trying to get projects completed and to get the range up and running and get a CO. So, and we know my opinion is that we should accept the change order and go ahead and pay it. I think that checking in with the town attorney was a good process. It also, again,
Actually,
hindsight
a little bit
helps.
reinforces where we are.
It
coming back
does.
from Melanie.
It does, yeah. It also gives us some hindsight of saying, this needs to happen differently next time, kind of thing.
It's,
I-
and it's a tough one.
It's very tough. It's not cut and dry.
There are, with any construction project, you're
Yeah.
always gonna get, something's gonna fall through the cracks.
Well, and I will have to say that my 40 years in construction and 20 years of being part of this commission, I can summarize it by saying stuff happens. I'll putting it nicely. And we have to deal with it best we can. And there are times when we've had change orders brought to us that it's very clear that no way are we to be responsible for this as the town, as the representatives of the town. Others, it's a little less clear, and others, it's definitely, oh yeah, we've got to take care of that because it needs to be a part of this. And again, change orders are anything that's considered out of scope, and scope being what's in the documents. And what was in the documents, as we saw initially, when Action Target came back, first with their letter at the beginning of January, I'm remembering when I met Evan out there to take a look at things at the beginning of January, it was cold. So I knew it was either December, January. Then I found the Action Target letter saying you need to do this. And Evan did point it out that it was something that was missed by somebody, and at that point, he was getting ready to check into it. So we've kind of done things a little bit backwards here and doing lots of discussion. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve Downs change order proposal number 18 in the amount of $10,060.
I'll second the motion.
John Menti seconds, and we can do more discussion if needed. I think that the further information that Downs provided gave us some great information. It's stuff that we don't often see. We don't see the either scope review information or the parts of specific contracts that Downs creates with their subcontractors. And it was good to have this and look at it. And we also had, again, with attached to the change order proposal, plus attached to the additional information that Downs gave us, and I did give this all to Attorney O'Brien, the plans where it showed the bid documents where it's very not specific. And then the marked up plans at Action Target, which without changing the date, gave us and added in all the stuff that's supposed to be there. But they didn't date it, which is kind of not so
I
good.
just can make a comment,
Sure.
just for general site, building site, me, past projects we had, we made some very minor mistakes. We made some big mistakes, but we've made a couple of mistakes that have gone about reviewing the contract documents. And I don't know what the magic fix is, but I really think somehow or somebody needs to do a surgical dissection of the contract moving forward for anything else. So
Yeah.
we don't make these, I mean, it's, for the whole price of this project, $10,000 is not a lot of money. And if we went to court, it probably cost you 30,000, we'd probably lose.
Right, right.
So, but just that being said, I think somehow we got to come up with a better solution moving forward to make
Yes.
sure we have our ducks in a row.
Well, that was something that, as I said, hindsight, something that Attorney O'Brien asked about. Hindsight, how can we learn from this? And which doesn't help
Now,
give an opinion now, but yes, what do we do
No.
moving forward?
A little bit in our defense, we did ask questions.
Yes, we did.
We really did zoom in on, okay?
Yes.
And,
And you pointed out a
And-
number of,
and
Places.
then we, you know,
and we missed
we
some.
missed
Yeah,
this. So, you know, yeah, shame on us, but there's a lot of things going on and,
we also
You
did, by getting the money for
I
the money from Eversource for
Right.
the efficiency, that's a plus
yeah,
that we don't, people don't
Yes.
hear about or know about.
right, right.
And, so, but yeah, we gotta just tighten things up a little bit, I think, moving forward. And
yeah, I know. I hear you and I don't know what the answer is yet on that because, you know, we did, but there was a lot of things on this one which were a little bit, you know,
Yeah,
it's not like we build a shooting range every day,
no, but I also, I think that, I will say
thankfully.
this, had Action Target been a subcontractor of
yeah.
Downs and also under Chikunsky Humes in the planning process.
Then
I think it would have been,
Much better.
well, but it would have been more clear. I think they would have,
Absolutely.
yeah. definitely.
There's been a little bit of a disconnect with action.
Yes.
Make a recommendation down the line, maybe once this is all kind of set aside, the board does a kind of a retreat meeting or something, public meeting, of course.
Yeah.
And talks about the process, the pitfalls, because, you're gonna have a lot more things coming.
Sure.
It's complicated and expensive, and, I'll give you any resources, because as you know, as an ex-official member of the board and the first selectman, we help administer the boards.
Mhm.
So if there's anything we can do to be helpful,
Right.
we'll do that.
Because it could be good to have some sort of and I asked this 20 years ago when I was first appointed, what's the town's process? And there's nothing written.
I don't think there is. 'Cause
There
I've
isn't.
been looking.
So,
That's another problem.
I
I
think
mean,
that's why-
really it is.
That would
Yeah.
be part of the goal
Yeah.
of having something,
right,
is if we put some sort of process in place and kind of went through some of the past mistakes and said, all right, these are examples of where this would catch it. I
right.
think that would be helpful.
I mean, even the process would involve involving the town engineer to review things.
Or somebody, even if we,
Mhm.
well, like with the
Yeah.
school projects, we had to hire that independent code review person.
Right.
That was like, it wasn't like Chris Baldwin saying, oh, I can't do that. No, it was part of the, I think reimbursement grant process
Yes.
where there had to have that happen.
Mhm.
You know, if that kind of thing has to happen, that should include
And that
the
person did
budget
pick
and-
up some things.
Yes,
if I
they did.
remember correctly.
Yep.
One thing I would like to see, you know, Arlie spend more time early on.
Mhm.
You know, I know of us as being a private side, we have just as much involvement from our legal team as far as
Yeah,
putting the
yep.
proposals
Right,
together.
right.
Okay, so that I would, personally, I'd like to see
Yeah.
us as a town have Melanie or whoever it might be, kind of add a couple of, the early on ones, because, you know, once the contract is set, you put it in the drawer and,
Right,
you know, it goes
Well,
away.
right. And
So, you know, and I just think that during the initial planning stages, it's really early on. that
Right.
This, you know, this process are start to move.
And even, well, even with, so just as an example with this, the RFP had to be
Yes.
reviewed by Marty before it went out.
Right.
The contracts were reviewed by Marty before they went out. He asked a lot of questions, which I thought we answered them all.
And
So,
I agree, but I'd almost like to turn over a little bit more
yeah,
to the legal to let them actually put the RFPs together, you know, with us.
Yeah.
A little bit more of a push to, hey, we're gonna let you guys handle
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Because, you know, they're kind of the experts on a lot of this
Right,
stuff. We'll fill in all the stuff for them, but,
Right.
you know, this is the format you have, because if you don't set that up correctly to start with,
right,
the contracts follow incorrect.
You got to tumble all the way.
yeah,
So, yeah, so you're always a little bit behind. So
True.
I think that would help us out, because once it's done, then all of this stuff basically, it's got to dry.
Right.
Let's,
Okay, so do we have any other questions? Either Dave Wilson or Lieutenant Durkin, because we've been talking a lot here, but I don't know if you had anything. No? Okay. So then I will have us vote. So all in favor of, did I make I did make a
yes, you
motion.
did. And I second.
And you seconded it. So all in favor of accepting Downs change order proposal number 18 as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. So Durkin raised his hand. I hope that means yes. And Dave Olson raised his hand. That means yes. Correct? If it's not, correct, just jump in and say that. Okay. So the motion carries and I think I'm gonna sign it. Now or
We want to, I gotta go to the next meeting anyway.
no, all right.
Commissioners meeting.
I don't know which one has
We
this
can,
one.
you want to bring it when you're done?
I can bring it
Is that the right
tomorrow.
one?
That's good. Yeah, this has less stuff in it, but that's the original one.
Okay.
All right, thank you, and thanks for all the information that you put together. I have, let's see, I have invoices and invoices. So there's two invoices that we will not consider tonight because I just got them later yesterday from STV. One is for the range, the other one's for Johnson School. And I also have, in looking at the invoice, I see that they have expended their entire contract. And I also had an email from Angela Cahill, who's Evan's supervisor, saying that they would not be able to do any further work without further funds, which we don't have. So I've asked if we could have a conversation when Evan's back to figure this out. So,
You need a copy of the town clerk and all that.
yeah, I'll scan it and send it to whoever. I'll scan this and send it, Kevin, and then file the original with the town clerk. Thank you. All right, invoices, I think is what we have. Do you have any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks, Dan. All right, now I have to remember how to do this. I have to go back to here. Yep. And how do I screen share? No, 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 no.
It's one of those
Oh, I got a present thing.
present now. I think it's the present now button.
It's present now?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I just clicked.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to this first, I think. And then share.
There we go. We're making progress.
All right, so we have, for our attention, so to speak, we have two definite items that need our attention. One is Downs application for payment, and the other is invoice from CES, which they had sent one in March or at the end of March, early April, which I missed. And so this one is for March and April. So let's do here's Downs. How do I get rid of the people at the bottom? Well, it all went out to everybody. That's okay. Leave it there. I'll just read. I'm going to make a motion that we approve Downs Construction Company application for payment number 7, dated for the period through end of April, so 4/30/2024, in the amount of $3,614.04.
Second.
Royce seconds. The balance to finish, including retainage, is $38.83, which will change after the change order goes into effect. Any questions on this or anything else on this? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Then that passes. And then I have to go back to
Unless you
here.
could have just hit the,
What's that?
it might have been.
So this is the CES, our commissioning agent, their invoice from both March and April. I will make a motion that we approve the CES invoice number 2023355.00-00000, a bunch of zeros, 4. I'll give it to you and you'll see it. Dated April 30th, 2024. And as I said, the amount, so it's in the amount of $1,230. So it's $270 for April and $960 for March.
We'll second that.
John seconds. Any questions on this? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. The only other invoice we have, I'm going to put it up because I think it got attached. I got to find it. It's from Signet. And it apparently, I think, was initially sent to the police department, and then they had it, and because Signet does some other work for them, they weren't sure what it was for, and then because it's dated February 26th, 2024. They weren't sure what it is, and it finally kind of made its way around to purchasing, who got it to me and Kathy. And it's for an amount that's below their, just below a couple dollars or a couple cents or whatever, below their amount. But what I don't know, because I didn't have Evan to check with, is are they done with their work? So I don't know if we should, I haven't made a motion, but I don't know whether we should. And I know they're not under Downs or Jakunski Hume, so they wouldn't be reporting to them and knowing whether the work was completed or not. So we could wait and check and
I
see.
think I'd rather see table this until,
Okay.
until we talk to Evan.
Yeah.
Yep. That's good. We are going to do that. And then the other thing I'm just going to put up quickly, which I'm hoping you all did take a look at, is this is the budget. And it shows on the top there, I'm not sure if I can, yeah, I can. Here we go. If you see in the green, the $11,345 is our contingency that remains. And this, of course, we would take the 10,060 out of that, leaving us with, I don't know what, $1,300.
Yeah.
Yet there are a few questions that I have on some of the amounts in different places. Have they been updated? And those are only questions that I can ask Evan, since he's the one that, I think this was kind of created by Geraldine, and Evan has continued with it. And we just want to make sure that all the numbers are in the places where they're supposed to be. And because you can see at the bottom
I
there,
have the same exact questions.
Yeah. So we will wait on this and hopefully get to talk to Evan about that.
Yep.
All right, let me
And a quick question.
check to make sure. Where's my? I don't think there are any other invoices. Here's my.
This is contained in STV.
Yeah.
They got
So-
$100 to play with it.
Mark, Alan, or Kevin from Downs, what are your next steps?
So we need the statement of substantial completion signed. That was given to Evan from Mark a while back.
Okay.
So we need that in order to go to the building official to go for a CO.
Okay, and I have not received that yet, so I will have to get that from Evan.
Okay.
And that's something that I think in the past we've, approved, and then whoever, I think Dan's probably the one that has to sign it. So Kevin, also, with that, when you do your inspections, are there inspections that require anyone from Action Target to be on site, or is it you and your subcontractors?
No, it's just us and our subcontractors. So we've already done like the life safety and the you know, the fire alarm and everything related to that. So depending on if the building official wants to see this stuff again for like a final review, you know, we'll have all of our trades out there to close out the electrical permit and you know, the mechanical permit and our building permit.
Right.
And that'll be it.
Yeah, so they were, the electrical and mechanical were pulled separately from your permit, correct?
Correct. So yeah, they would have to have a final inspection. But with the scope this small, I mean, the electrical inspector may be okay with just signing off, or he may want to come out and do a final review. So either way, we will be present in case anything comes up.
So was life safety done by the fire marshal or was
Yes,
that?
it was done by the fire marshal and the building inspector, both at the same time.
So we're gonna have to find out what else they need and then what does the health department need? And does planning and zoning need anything for their sign offs? So we'll have to do some checking on that. Okay, so is there anything else that we need to look at here, or can I get rid of this, bring every change order, requisition, agenda, done. So I can stop sharing. There we are. Okay. So does anybody have any other questions, et cetera? I mean, one of the things that I know, and again, it doesn't fall under Downs, but Action Target needs to do some training, which I think they did some initial training with the police department, correct? Lieutenant Durkin?
Yes, they did just an initial training with the installers that were there. I wouldn't really call it too much training, but apparently they are going to send somebody out to do a more thorough training for Lieutenant Libertini on how to operate it.
Okay, so there's a number of things that Action Target needs to come back for, and I'm sure if they're sending people from Utah, they're going to want to make it so that it's a day or two where they get it done and they don't have to come back. So we'll have to find out that and then keep everybody updated on that.
I guess we would reach out to them at this point because it sounds like Evan's not working for us anymore. What I heard earlier.
Well,
That's
that's not certain. That's what that didn't come from Evan. It came from the invoices I got and from his supervisor, Angela. So I'm going to have to talk with them and get some clarification on that.
Okay.
Because my response was, you can't leave us high and dry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there's still a lot of things to finish up.
Oh, a whole lot of things and a whole lot of information that Evan has
All
that,
this important stuff that, you know,
yes. And
I
We've
I
got to
can't
figure that out.
imagine as a position to start with. I mean,
Yeah.
we got to have some discussions.
definitely.
okay.
Lieutenant,
So we'll go ahead.
Lieutenant, on the training that you did, does the range seem to be operating correctly?
I'll have to check with Libertini on that. I know there was a couple of things, punch list things that they were going to fix, and I'm not sure if those were done yet.
If you hear anything, could you just, shoot us a text or something? So,
Yeah.
so at least we can get on the list with Evan to make
Right.
sure he's, it seems like we might have a little bit of communications problem now. So whatever information that whatever problems you have, let's see if we can get them to our commission so we can start getting them to the right people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know he mentioned that in talking about when Action Target would come back.
Yeah.
That there was specifically physically like a track that wasn't working right, et cetera.
Yeah, there wasn't a track
was-
that wasn't working right. The touch screens that fold up weren't really flush the way they were supposed to sit, stuff like that. And so anyway, there was a couple of things, and I know Libertini's been in contact with them and working on something else. I know there's some things that were delivered that they're going to do when they come back, so that we have sitting in the Sally Port. So there's some things in the works. I'm not exactly sure where we're at with all that.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate trying to keep us, because it sounds like, we really have to find out from Evan to get
Right.
things wrapped up.
Yes,
So
definitely.
whatever you see on your side, please get to us.
Okay.
And I know Evan's been working on that, and the biggest thing of Action Target coming back was having the makeup air unit running.
Yes.
And ESC will do their part, CES will do some commissioning, and then it's up and running and ready to go. Then Action Target can come back and do the final stuff that they need to do, training, but also making sure that the makeup air unit's working with the controls, so that when they come in, turn it on, it's running. When they turn it off, it's not, but it's also operating, either heating and cooling when it needs to. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, great, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
So I think that's it for training range, unless anybody, Dave or Lieutenant Durkin or Kevin or Mark has anything else. I think we can be done with that for today, for tonight. Yep. Okay. Thank you. We're going to move on to,
And hey, Kevin, I'd like to thank you for getting that information.
yes. that
Oh,
was-
absolutely. It's my pleasure. I just wanted to help provide as much information as possible to, paint the best pictures possible. I understand, the committee's side of it. Just unfortunately, this is, as Kathy said, stuff happens with construction. So, but I want to thank the committee for understanding our side and, approving it. So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for all your input.
Yeah,
That was
thanks.
helpful.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Yep, thanks.
All right. Good night.
Yep, good night. So we're gonna move on to Rockwell and Johnson School. Jen has been patiently waiting, and hopefully she has an update on the audit. If any more things have happened, we don't know. Yeah,
Hi.
oh,
Oops. Oh no, sorry about my, hold on one second.
no, you're muted, and then now you're doing something else. Getting the dog down or something. Who knows? So interesting. Okay,
Sorry about that. I just put my dog outside because he decided to bark now.
We guessed
So,
already.
the audit is starting. We have some time. The auditors are going to come on site and work with us from the Board of Ed side, as well as Brad Hearing and his team on the town side, to go through everything they need to do to complete the audit. So those visits have been scheduled, and basically we're just waiting for that to happen at this point. They've asked, they've given us an idea of some of the information we're looking for, and we have a lot of very detailed information in the Google Drive that I think Kathy set up earlier. So that is very helpful. And so we're ready for that when they get here.
do you know when that's scheduled for?
Let me check because it is starting the week of the 20th.
Okay.
So that's oh, actually, no, we do also have a meeting on the 16th. So I think our first meeting is next Thursday, the 16th.
Great. Well, that's soon, and we might have some resolve pretty soon.
Yes.
And then do you know, after they complete their part, how long it takes to get some back from them and get the reimbursement and all that? Any idea?
I don't know exactly, but our experiences with state is that things usually take a while. So I would not be holding my breath. I would expect that it would probably be at least a month or two.
Okay, and then, actually that shared drive was set up by Sue Perret, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kathy puts a lot of stuff in there, but yeah, and she set up the one for the meetings, but the one for the school project got set up by Sue Perret and people in the Board of Ed office so that we could all access it. And it's been a godsend to me when I need to go back and find something. Geraldine was really good about putting stuff in there, Vinny not so much. So I tried to make sure any additional information goes in there as needed.
Thank you.
All right, so we will get another update on that for our next meeting if you have anything, but if not, we'll try to be patient. With the grant and the high school HVAC, is there anything on that you have for us?
Sure. So we, Dr. Carb, I think she shared, she received an email from the state indicating They expect us to get the grant. We don't have the formal grant award letter yet, so we're still waiting for that. And the bid was released, and today was the walkthrough at the high school for that bidding process. 7 contractors attended, so I was very happy to see multiple contractors there. And we walked around, we looked at classrooms, we looked at the electrical service and some of the electrical closets. We went up on the roof and looked at the air handlers up there. And for this case, it's really the lack of air handlers for the area that we'll be getting air conditioning for the first time. So I think it was a good tour, and I was happy to see the 7 people were there and taking it seriously.
So do you know if the 7 were actual like general contractors, or were they pieces? Sometimes a general contractor will have 3 other people show up that were going to be subs underneath them. You don't know.
I believe one person was probably a sub. 2 of them are general contract. 3 of them are general contractors we've worked with before. One was a sub. One name I didn't recognize. And I'm forgetting a few, but yeah, there were multiple people that could be the general contractors there.
Great, that's great.
Yep.
And then when's the bid opening again?
I believe that is the 23rd. Let me check. Yep, Thursday, the 23rd.
Okay. Is there anything else? So I know Dr. Carver did say to me in an email that they had an email from the state with indicating good things were to come, but you haven't got, don't you have to get like some kind of an official something?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yep. They normally send a, letter on letterhead and with the details and official grant number, award number, and things like that. So we have not received that.
Yeah. We can't work with it until you get that, right?
Right. Yes. Right. That's part of securing the funding.
Yeah.
And that's part of the deal. So, right. No work would start until, so the process we have to open the bids, evaluate them, choose if everyone's qualified, choose the lowest bidder, and then we'd have to work with a contract with Melanie to have that in place. And then also we have to have the funding secured.
And is it reimbursement funding, or is it they give you a hunk of cash and you?
Oh no, it's reimbursement.
Okay. And then would you need us as a commission or a subcommittee thereof to help with the bid review? I don't know what.
I'm not opposed to that if you guys want to jump in.
Okay, because the grant does say that a building committee has to be involved, but doesn't say, I don't know if it says how. So you might need to make sure
Check on
you
that. Okay.
find out what parts do we need to be a part of? So
Okay.
we make sure that we're, if there's some kind of an audit thing that happens with that, how are we, we want to make sure we're doing all that dotting I's and crossing T's stuff. So
Yes.
if you can check into that, that would be helpful.
Okay, sure.
Anything else that you have on those 2 projects for us?
Nope, that's it.
Any other questions for Jen?
Good.
Okay, thanks, Jen. We'll see you again.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank
Me
you.
too. And then last item on the agenda is the municipal center locker room renovation. So Dan Carter and Rachel McGrath and I went to Architects Guild to meet with Peter and talk about some ideas that Rachel has had that are different from what Eileen was looking at originally. Rachel kind of sees that space as not just park and rec space, but town space. And we do have to do something in there with bathrooms and the sort of locker room area. And that is driven by the plumbing wall, that main plumbing wall. So moving bathrooms one way or the other has to be centered around doing it so that the plumbing stays in that one wall. We're not jackhammering up the floor, etc. So they came up with an idea of, you have the big rectangular space of the whole entire storage, locker rooms, everything. If the locker rooms could be on one side and then the other side could be possibly some storage on one side and the big thing that Rachel was looking at was, wouldn't it be great to, in this building, have what she called a fitness room? So that you could have maybe something a little bit bigger than this room where you could have an exercise class, or you could have some weights along the edge where you do some weight kind of things, not like machines and all that, but something that could be used by different age levels for different fitness types activities. So Peter kind of, looked at the original plans and we discussed a number of different things. And then Peter sent over a kind of a proposal, but not really a proposal. So I asked Dan in an reply email, can we work with this to get started? And I haven't gotten an answer yet. So it's basically, he was looking at using their original contract proposal from way long time ago, but updating their hourly amount. And I'm not sure if that's going to fly. I think it might need to be something a little more either specific, or everybody wants to know a bottom line amount, which,
That's good.
so we may have to, either meet or talk with him again to get that going.
Yeah, I think he's been so involved with the project all the way along. Myself, I think he knows the project better than anyone. I
Right.
think if we asked him, give us a not to exceed number
Right.
or something
Right.
that we can go with.
Because he was looking at needing to come up with some kind of a schematic idea.
Yeah.
Before we could get
I agree.
structural
So
and
we
MEP
that's right.
people involved.
Get
Yeah.
some, get
Right,
some conceptuals, make sure everyone's on
Yes.
board.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
Because he
would,
also has to check to see if there is a requirement by building code as to how many toilets you need or how many sinks or,
but
know-
that type of stuff, I would think that he could come, whether he says, hey, look, it's gonna be $5,000, it's gonna be $3,000
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do
right.
this stage, the schematics,
yeah.
just a general 2 or
Yeah.
3 meetings with the committee.
Right,
And, and then the next step will be build.
this
plan
much
or
more,
whatever.
and then this
Exactly.
much more, yeah.
I mean,
Because I think we need something a little more specific from him. It's a little too open-ended, and I think the town won't be happy with that. And we
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to really approve and be okay with that.
I would hope he could put something more
Yeah.
like that together.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
has been so involved.
Right, right. Yep. Yeah. So that's where we are with that. Like I said, I've got to follow up with Dan about some other things and with that to see.
Are we still looking to do this in the stages? Or,
Well, I think it would depend on what kind of an idea. We talked about stages, and I talked about
Yeah.
how we applied for the STEEP grant last year. And I think it would depend on like whatever concept we come up with, like a schematic sort of idea of, if you're gonna take the bathrooms and move them way far away, then
Yeah.
that's way
That's a
bad.
whole
We don't wanna
other-
do that.
that's a whole
If
other
we-
situation.
All right.
if we come up with a final design, what we like, and we may be able to do it and put it into a stage format.
Yes.
Priority.
yes.
Because the reason why I'm saying this, because what scares me, if we say, okay, this whole thing is gonna cost, I'm just gonna get a number, $1.1 million.
Yep.
And the Board of Finance is gonna say, I'm not saying they will, they could say, oh, no, you gotta cut it back. So if you get, okay, this will cost this much
Right.
money, this is gonna, and they say, either they're gonna, I'd rather go ask for everything and then have a cut than instead of asking for only part of it and then getting that cut.
Yeah.
That's what scares me.
Well, but with the STEEP grant last year, the STEEP grant was $500,000.
Right. We didn't get it.
We didn't get it, no. And what Janice found out was that all of the other towns that were approved had matching funds or some kind of funds already
Ready
approved.
to go.
So if we have plans and we say, we're doing this section and we find out it costs X and we go to the STEEP grant, and then we've already had maybe the Board of Finance do some commitment of, I don't know if there's ARPA money left or any of that. I've tried to figure that out, but let's say it's gonna cost, I don't know, $900,000. So we got a 500,000 grant, the town puts in their 400,000
I mean,
to get that part done, and then maybe in a year we get another STEEP grant.
and that's the thing that, I mean, they could actually set up the funding upon awarding of a steep grant too.
Yes, yeah,
So they say,
Right.
okay, we'll give you
just. like that.
$500,000
Yeah,
if you get a $500,000 steep grant. If you don't get the, like we did
Right.
with some of these projects,
with the.
you don't
with
get the money, you don't get the money.
Yeah, with the high school HVAC.
Right.
You know, we didn't get the grant first time.
I
We didn't
just think
start.
we should-
Now, yeah,
We should ask for the moon,
right,
and
Yeah.
then you can,
right, go from there.
because you don't know what's, what they're thinking, what anybody's
Right.
thinking, Board of
Right.
Selectmen, the Board of Finance.
Yes, yes.
But it's good that
Okay.
you're having conversations. It's
Yes,
different
we're
from-
moving.
from,
We're moving
from
and
where-
it's,
Where it was. Yeah.
and gets very much into getting stuff done. So that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, it's really.
Roy seconds it. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
How about you, Kathy?
Opposed.
Adjourn?
Done.
Damn,
Thank you
good.
so much. Good night, David. Also,
Night.
the rest of us
Night.
are here in the room. I can turn this off. I can't end it yet. I have to do something. What do I have to do? I have to leave.